So, Michael Hauser stole $25 million from a casino. Not by robbing it, not by cheating at the tables. He worked there. He was the guy who signed the checks. For almost 8 years, he just kept writing checks to himself using a dead vendor's name, and nobody noticed. By the time they caught him, he owed the Muscogee Nation $17 million he'll probably never pay back. Michael Anthony Hauser was 36 years old, living in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. Quiet suburb, nice houses. The kind of place where people mow their lawns on Saturday and go to church on Sunday. Michael had a job most people would call boring. Accounts payable manager for the Muscogee Nation Gaming Operations Authority Board. That's the tribal enterprise that runs multiple casinos across eastern Oklahoma, including River Spirit Casino Resort in Tulsa. River Spirit alone pulls in around 10,000 guests a day. It's one of the biggest tribal gaming operations in the country. We're talking hundreds of employees, community programs, infrastructure projects, all funded by gaming revenue. And Michael was the guy processing the bills. Now, the way accounts payable works is pretty simple. Vendors do work for the company. Cleaning services, equipment suppliers, maintenance crews, whatever. They send invoices and someone in the office cuts them a check. Michael was that someone. He had access to the vendor list, the payment system, and the bank accounts. So in July 2016, Michael found a vendor profile that was no longer active. The company behind it was defunct. Out of business. Gone. Nobody was watching that account anymore. Nobody even remembered it existed. So Michael started sending invoices from that dead company. Fake invoices for work that never happened, billed to an account nobody was monitoring, and then he approved those invoices himself. And then he cut the checks. And the checks went straight into his own bank accounts. I guess when you're the one approving the payments and cutting the checks, fraud gets pretty easy. And it's not like Michael was being subtle about the amounts. This wasn't someone skimming a few $100 here and there, hoping nobody would notice. Michael was moving serious money, hundreds of thousands at a time. Sometimes more every month, new invoices from a company that didn't exist anymore, for services that were never performed, approved by the one guy who controlled the entire payment process from start to finish. Between July 2016 and February 2024, Michael funneled just under $25 million out of the Muscogee Nation's gaming revenue. That's almost $25 million from a tribal enterprise that serves thousands of people across eastern Oklahoma. Think about how much community funding, how many jobs, how many services got shortchanged because one guy in accounting was running a fake vendor scam for 8 years. But the part that makes this story truly ridiculous is what Michael did with all that money. He didn't invest it. He didn't stash it offshore. He didn't buy property or build some kind of empire. He took the money he stole from a casino and gambled it away at other casinos. Michael became a VIP high roller in Las Vegas. He siphoned the stolen funds through casino accounts in Vegas and lived the whole lifestyle. Private tables, bottle service, penthouse suites. The casino host knew him by name. They were rolling out the red carpet for a guy paying his tab with embezzled tribal funds. And Michael just kept coming back weekend after weekend, dumping millions into slot machines and card tables on the Las Vegas Strip. Now, he did buy some things along the way. A Lexus, a Cadillac, a boat, private school tuition for his kids, so at least someone in the family benefited from the stolen money, I suppose. But the bulk of that $25 million went right back into gambling. You get the point. The man stole from a casino to gamble at other casinos. If you wrote that in a movie script, someone would tell you it's too on the nose. And I want you to think about this for a second. Michael worked inside a casino operation. He saw every day how the house always wins. He processed the revenue. He knew exactly how much money the Muscogee Nation pulled in from gamblers. And his big plan with the stolen millions was to go be one of those gamblers somewhere else. That's not even criminal genius. That's just math illiteracy with extra steps. And Michael was also committing tax fraud on top of it. Because of course he was. When you're pulling in millions of dollars a year in stolen income, the IRS still expects you to report that. Stolen money is taxable income. That's been the rule since Al Capone. Michael apparently missed that lesson. Between 2016 and 2022, he failed to report any of the embezzled money on his federal tax returns. Just pretended it didn't exist. Wrote down his regular salary and called it a day, while millions in stolen cash flowed through his accounts on the side. In 2022 alone, Michael hid over $7.8 million in income from the IRS. 1 year. Almost $8 million that he told the government he never received. That single year of hidden income was more than most people earn in an entire career. The total tax loss to the U.S. Treasury came out to over $8 million across all those years. So now you've got theft from a federally funded tribal enterprise and tax fraud stacked on top of it. Two separate federal crimes running in parallel for the better part of a decade. Two federal agencies got involved. The U.S. Secret Service and IRS Criminal Investigation both launched investigations into Michael's finances. And if you're wondering why the Secret Service investigates financial crimes, that's one of their original jobs. They were created in 1865 to fight counterfeiting. The presidential protection stuff came later. If you're finding this one interesting, do me a favor and hit subscribe. More stories like this every week. And when investigators started pulling the thread, the whole thing came apart fast. The dead vendor profile, the fake invoices that matched no actual services, the payments routed directly to Michael's personal bank accounts, the wire transfers to Las Vegas casino accounts, the VIP gambling records showing millions in action from a guy whose legitimate salary was nowhere near that level. All of it was sitting right there in the paperwork, just waiting for someone to look. If you ask me, the real mystery isn't how Michael pulled it off. It's how nobody in the entire organization noticed for almost 8 years. Think about that. 8 years of fake invoices from a defunct company. 8 years of checks going to accounts that had nothing to do with the vendor list. 8 years of an accounts payable manager living way beyond his means, driving a Lexus and a Cadillac, taking regular trips to Vegas, and nobody in finance, nobody in management, nobody in auditing ever said, hey, this doesn't add up. Either nobody was checking, or the checks were so bad they might as well not have existed. So in February 2025, the hammer finally dropped. Michael pleaded guilty to 2 federal charges: theft concerning programs receiving federal funds and tax fraud. He didn't fight it. There wasn't much to fight. The paper trail was a mile long and every dollar was accounted for. His lawyer basically told the judge Michael accepted full responsibility, which at that point was really his only option. You don't take $25 million through fake invoices and then claim it was a misunderstanding. Sentencing came down in October 2025. Michael got 70 months for the theft charge and 36 months for the tax fraud charge. The sentences run concurrently, meaning he's looking at about 5 years and 10 months total behind bars for stealing $25 million. If you do the math, that breaks down to roughly $4,300 stolen per day he'll spend in prison. Not exactly a punishment that makes future embezzlers think twice. The court also ordered restitution. Michael owes over $17 million to the Muscogee Nation and over $8 million to the IRS. That's more than $25 million in total restitution. Investigators managed to seize about $7.5 million in cash, casino credits, and forfeited assets from Michael before sentencing. But that still leaves the Muscogee Nation more than $17 million short. And that money is almost certainly gone forever. You don't recover gambling losses. The casinos in Vegas aren't giving refunds because the VIP who was tipping cocktail waitresses turned out to be a thief. That's not how casinos work. Michael self-reported to a federal prison facility on November 10, 2025. He walked himself in, no dramatic arrest at the house, no standoff, no perp walk in front of news cameras. Just a guy who stole $25 million, blew most of it at the tables, and then showed up to prison on time like it was a dentist appointment. The Muscogee Nation called this one of the largest embezzlement schemes ever reported within the tribe's financial structure. And the fix, if you're wondering, is pretty obvious. Don't let the same person create invoices, approve invoices, and sign checks. That's Accounting Fraud Prevention 101. Separation of duties. Any first-year accounting student can tell you that. Michael had zero separation between him and the money. He was the entire pipeline, and for 8 years, that pipeline just drained straight into his pocket and then straight into a Las Vegas casino cage. So Michael Hauser is sitting in a federal prison right now. He owes more money than he'll ever make in his lifetime. The Lexus is gone. The Cadillac is gone. The boat is gone. The VIP tables in Vegas are definitely gone. The private school tuition is definitely not getting paid anymore. And the Muscogee Nation is still trying to figure out how $17 million walked out the door over 8 years without anyone raising a flag. If you like stories like this, there are more on the channel.